Chapter 6. The Human Soul. The human body is temporary housing for what lies beneath the surface, the human soul. There is truly so much more to a person than meets the eye. Soul, like love, like God, may be a very small word, but it means so very, very much. Who you are and what you are, your true essence, all the qualities that are uniquely and unmistakably you are housed in this invisible vessel. Impervious to sickness and disease, your soul is one of a kind. It is the only one in existence. It cannot be cloned, duplicated, or manufactured. It holds your personality, your character, and your attitude, which are manifested in your words, actions, and behavior. It contains your memories, relationships, and experiences, and with that your knowledge and wisdom. It contains your dreams and ambitions, how you see the world, and how you treat others. The soul is what truly defines you, the individual. The soul is what holds the contents of your entire being, and it is ultimately the soul of a person that we fall in love with and who we become friends with. And it is all these aspects of your soul that God is working to advance through your mind via His perfect living presence. Life, at its core, is all about soul. Its present state, its growth and development, and the kind of support it has around it. We as human beings are naturally inclined to place each other and ourselves into categories, into boxes and compartments, giving each other and ourselves titles, tags, and labels. But what truly matters most is the kind of soul a person possesses and the direction in which it is taking. This is what matters most in life, and certainly what matters most to God. The human soul can go in 3 different directions: forward, neutral, or reverse. And I will illustrate these directions in this way. Neutral looks like 2 parallel lines 6 inches apart. If you look down the road a mile, they are still 6 inches apart. In 2 miles, they are still 6 inches apart, and so on. When you take those same 2 lines and bend them toward each other, you have reverse. If those lines continue in that direction, they will eventually become a point. If you take those same 2 parallel lines and bend them away from each other, say 5 degrees, you have forward. If you look a mile down that road, those 2 lines are 925 feet apart. At 2 miles, they are 1,850 feet apart, and so on. The soul that is moving in this forward direction will ultimately reach the shores of paradise, where it will finally see the face of God. A neutral soul is simply spinning its wheels without movement, staying in the same place. Reverse direction, if it is not changed, eventually becomes a dead end, and with it, soul extinction. This is the danger in wrongdoing. It can become habitual to the point of no return. Soul death, the ultimate consequence of living life in a reverse direction, occurs when every last drop of light within that person's soul is extinguished. Only the soul that is totally empty, completely exhausted of its potential for goodness, will cease to exist. Although it is invisible to the human eye, the soul is revealed or manifested, once again, through one's words, actions, deeds, and behavior. It can certainly be judged, not in the final sense, of course, but not destroyed by others, for it is not made up of blood and tissue. Only its owner, via a wicked mind, can do that. For what is a man profited if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? The soul is eternal and indestructible when it's moving in a forward, positive direction, and susceptible to extinction when moving in the opposite direction. But make no mistake, even the most severely damaged soul, one that has not changed direction during its earthly sojourn, if it has even the smallest speck of light, will retain God's presence. And upon physical death, will be resurrected on high and given the opportunity to change course and begin anew. Always, always remember, with God, all things are possible. When your life here on earth has expired, and flesh and blood become dirt and dust, it is your soul that will live on. It has been said many times, you can't take it with you, regarding one's material wealth upon dying. It is true, but your soul and everything it has become is the one thing, the only thing, from this life that you can and will take with you into the next world. And when the time comes for you to depart this world, it is your soul that will be resurrected on high within a new body to continue its long journey towards paradise, perfection, and God Himself. Chapter 7. Spiritual Truth and Living Experience. Living experience is your greatest teacher, and God knows this, which is why He has endowed you with this most invaluable ability. Living experience and academic study both have merit and value. There's nothing wrong with spoken and written forms of truth. I am doing that here on these pages right now, and you're doing it by reading them. But take skydiving for an example. You can read about it in a book, or have someone who has done it describe it to you. Or you can get in that plane, strap on that parachute, climb to 10,000 feet, take that leap, free fall for a mile, and then pull the ripcord. Now the question becomes, what means more? What means more, reading the menu or eating the meal? Reading the sheet music or hearing the song? Having someone describe to you what true friendship means or having a true friend? Watching something on TV or actually doing it? With these examples in mind, I ask you, don't you want more? It's the same with God. Trust me, nothing says as much about God than to experience God on a personal, intimate level. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. If that is true, then the experience is worth 10 million. Spiritual truth, or truth that directly relates to God, is not only something that I live and something that I teach, it's also who I am and what I am. But still, I do not own it. It is not my sole property. It is also not my invention or my creation. It is God's. And it belongs to everyone in the same way God belongs to everyone. Spiritual truth is love, peace, and wisdom. It is integrity, pride, and self-respect. It is patience and humility. It is calm and composure. It is discipline, moderation, restraint, and balance. It is strength, courage, fortitude, endurance, and resilience. It is freedom and choice. It is growth, betterment, and progress. It is all things positive. Spiritual truth, also known as the fruits of the Spirit, is something that you can give to others in love, respect, compassion, and tolerance, in sympathy, empathy, and understanding, in kindness and courtesy, in altruism and generosity, in loyalty and trust, in dignity and equality. It cannot be bent, twisted, or destroyed, and it is not subjective. It is permanent, eternal, constant, timeless, and absolute, and like the human soul that embraces it, spiritual truth is indestructible. It is the way, the truth, and the life. Spiritual truth can be broken down into what I call 5-5-90. It is 5% written, 5% spoken, and 90% a living experience. It is 90% something that you live, exercise, practice, demonstrate, and over time, it is something that you eventually become. Spiritual truth, without this living experiential component, can become just a whole bunch of facts and figures and technical data. But still, laws and rules, guidelines and regulations are essential for governments and institutions. They are also vital for young people who lack life experience, as well as for older folks who may be, for whatever reason, unethical, morally bankrupt, or emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually immature. But in the same way that living experience goes beyond words, The becoming of spiritual truth goes beyond the mechanics of duty and good behavior, and beyond the practicing of law-abiding codes of conduct, obedience, compliance, and obligation. It can start there, but the more you live these truths, the more you expand the positive within yourself to the point where it is so pervasive that the negative within you becomes completely expelled. Becoming one with spiritual truth brings you to the point where virtues, morals, ethics, and values become automatic. The internal struggle between right and wrong no longer exists because to do what is right becomes who and what you are, like it is with God. You become the right thing. You become the golden rule. Even if you've never been around positive truth, that doesn't render you incapable of becoming spiritual truth. There is a reason why, when you are exposed to something that is true, it strikes a chord and resonates within you. Why it rings true, and what makes it self-evident. It's called the spirit of truth, or the spirit of cognitive realization. It is when the light bulb over your head is illuminated. It is a gift that all human beings are endowed with. God not only gives you the ability to recognize truth, He is constantly and tirelessly working within you to become truth, to exude truth, and to give truth to others, which is woven into the fabric that is the meaning and purpose of life. And the greatest of all truth being love in the form of positive living relationships. Love is the driving force that propels these truths into action, and to know and live these truths will truly set you free. Chapter 8. Who God is. God is the perfect parent who has total trust and confidence in you, who understands you completely, and whose devotion, dedication, and commitment to you is constant and completely unshakable. God is the wisest teacher, whose knowledge is whole, whose influence is pure, whose guidance is true, and whose wisdom is complete. God is a true friend and loyal confidant, who will always be there for you, who will never let you down, and who finds it impossible to betray you. God is the ultimate partner and companion, whose patience is infinite, and whose love for you is unconditional, absolute, and eternal. And God is the Most High, Supreme Being, who has the incredible ability to love, serve, and uphold an entire grand universe, while at the same time making you feel like an only child. Chapter 9. God's Nature. The depth and complexities of God's mind, as well as the dimension, scope, and magnitude of His far-flung infinite universe of time, space, matter, gravity, planets, solar systems, black holes, etc., are truly mind-boggling and astounding. Just thinking about God in this way can be overwhelming and somewhat intimidating. There is not a word in any language that can describe just how deep and immense God actually is. The universe and all its mysteries are indeed incredible and awe-inspiring, and certainly there are many aspects about God that are beyond our understanding. We are simply too young. But when it comes to the nature of God, it really isn't complex or mysterious at all. In describing and defining God's nature, two words immediately come to mind: simple goodness. A smile to a stranger, a compliment, holding the door for the person behind you, a reassuring pat on the back, returning found money, stopping for a stranded motorist, letting someone out in traffic, a random act of kindness, donations, charity and volunteerism, and on and on and on. These are tangible acts of goodness even the most primitive person in the world can grasp the meaning of. The simple good works and deeds that we all witness all around us, most every day, may seem small and trivial, but they are deep, timeless, significant, and true. When you witness or experience the smallest or largest acts of kindness, service, generosity, courtesy, caring, and compassion, you get a first-hand glimpse into the nature and essence of God Himself. And let us not forget about God's greatest attribute, love. Chapter 10. God's perfect and enduring love. Love is a small word that means everything. It makes the sun shine and the world turn, and it is the glue that holds the entire universe together. Without love, there would be nothingness, and with love, there is eternity. God's love is a love that is pristine, flawless, undiluted, and of course, divine. It is perfect, infinite, boundless, constant, eternal, and guaranteed. It is deeper than any ocean and as wide as the open sky. God's is a love that is powerful yet gentle. A love that can make you cry 1,000 tears of joy and lift you to the highest of heights. God's love, like God Himself, is pure and perfect in every way, shape, and form. God is love of the highest order that requires no sacrifice, no conditions, and is given in abundance with no strings attached. God's love will make you feel warm and fuzzy, yet at the same time it compels you to roll up your sleeves and get to work. And it is God's living presence within you that, among many other things, can channel this supreme love directly to your heart every single time that you open your heart and mind to Him. God's love is also a love that unifies people, and it is long, long overdue in this world. I see it every day. People want to be loved and should be loved. Everyone has something to say. Everyone wants to be heard and paid attention to. Most people will welcome someone who takes a genuine and sincere interest in them. I have talked in depth with all kinds of people, hundreds of people, from rough-and-tumble bikers to young receptionists and everyone in between. Whether they were young or old, rich or poor, black or white, everyone responds to love. I wish I could be a close friend to all people, for I love them that much, but for obvious reasons I cannot. Our Father in heaven, on the other hand, absolutely can. I bet if you really examined all the ills in this world that had to do with human emotion, behavior, and relations, you could trace most of them back to a lack of true love. Call it sappy or sentimental. If what's wrong with this world is the question, then love is the answer. Love may not be all you need, but it is the foundation upon which everything, your life, the world, the universe, is built upon. And it is within this divine love that should permanently lay to rest any such notions about God being hateful or jealous, angry, wrathful or vengeful, biased or discriminatory. God's perfection, as well as His divine nature, instantly negates any such attributes, rendering them utterly impossible. Let us not ever make the mistake of giving God our Father, who is perfect in every way, shape, and form, our human faults, shortcomings, and imperfections, for they simply do not apply to our heavenly Creator. God's divine love also helps you to realize that there is, once again, so much more to a person than meets the eye, and with that there blossoms a desire to really get to know them. It's a love that can appreciate a person's life story, their history and background, their skills and talents, their qualities and potential, as well as their pain and sorrow. It's a love that respects their thoughts and ideas, opinions and beliefs. And with this love, there too develops a real desire to be caring and compassionate, kind and thoughtful, polite and courteous, warm and friendly, charitable and generous. And by the power of God's loving influence, what takes place within you is a sincere and heartfelt desire to give to all people the love, decency, respect, and dignity they deserve and that we all desire. God's enduring love can and will help us all to make this world, a more perfect world.